Welcome to my next Lost. Season 5 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am every rewatcher watching Lost, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, if you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, everyone, I've already actually seen the TV series Lost 3 other times. It's in my top 5 favorite TV series of all time, as a matter of fact. And I wanted to rewatch the show to let it resonate. I'm not binging it. I'm watching 2 to 4 episodes per week and kind of letting things sit in my head. But I'm not the only one that's currently watching Lost. The legendary Crazy Coffee Man, who you see in my comment section for Lucifer, Breaking Bad, Dexter Original Sin, Dexter New Blood, and some physical media related videos, is actually watching Lost for the very first time. So, join us on the journey and let's discuss this awesome and amazing show in the comment section. However, I don't want to see any spoilers past this particular episode. So with all that said, this will be Lost, Season 5, Episode 2. The title of this episode is called The Lie, and this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watch the episode. So we start, which is now a flashback after leaving the island on Penny's boat, the Searcher. The Oceana 6, as well as Penny, Desmond, and Frank discuss what to tell the world when they return to the mainland. Hurley tells Jack that their lie will be found out, while Sayid worries that it is risky and a decision that will affect the rest of their lives. Jack remains adamant that they must lie and ask if they are okay with that. Reluctantly, everyone agrees except Hurley, who believes that people will listen if they all tell them the truth. Jack tells Hurley that lying will protect the people who were left on the island from Charles Whitmore. Penny tells Hurley that calling her father off is an impossibility, and Jack says that no one will believe Hurley anyway. Hurley argues that if others verify his story, people will believe it, and looks to Sayid for support. Sayid agrees with Jack, and that they have no other choice, much to Hurley's dismay. Hurley tells Sayid that he will remember the decision, and that when Sayid needs his help one day, he will not get it. Now to a flash forward, Hurley frantically drives around with unconscious Sayid after their narrow escape from that safe house. Trying to buckle Sayid's seatbelt, he attracts the attention of a police vehicle by hitting a trash can on the curb, and anxiously pulls over. As the police officer approaches the window, Hurley opens it and realizes it's Ana Lucia. She scolds him for pulling over and driving like a maniac. She asks Hurley what he would have done had she been real, especially with the pictures on the news showing Hurley covered in blood with a gun in his hand. Hurley replies that it's just ketchup from the drive-through meal. Ana Lucia instructs him to get new clothes and then to take Sayid to someone he trusts. She strongly advises him to stay away from cops and do not get arrested. She turns to leave, but then pauses and nonchalantly says, "Oh, yeah, Libby says hi." Hurley looks backwards and realizing there is no sign of Ana Lucia or her police car, he starts the engine and drives away. Survivors gather wood in order to start a fire. This is to like the island timeline. That's not a flashback or flash forward. It's like I don't know. It's all over in this episode. Rose and Bernard bicker over the best way to do so. Neil, who Sawyer calls Frogurt, approaches and tells them that they have bigger issues right now. Sawyer and Juliet discuss the Zodiac raft still being with them at this point in time. Juliet mentions that whatever they had with them when they moved is along for the ride. Daniel Faraday returns to the beach and is confronted by Sawyer and Juliet. Daniel Faraday lies about what he was doing in the jungle, telling Sawyer that he left his pack behind and had to find it. Juliet says that they should take the raft and head to a shipping lane, which Faraday immediately disagrees with, saying he needs to calculate a new bearing as he unpacks a sextant, and in order to do that, he needs to determine where they are in time. Miles declares that he's going to find something for them to eat, while Juliet decides that they'll look for water. Back to our flash forward, Hurley attempts to revive Saeed on his own, but to no avail. He takes some cash off Saeed, puts Saeed's sunglasses on Saeed to hide his unconscious state, and walks into a gas station where he buys some new clothes for himself. The girl at the cash register says she recognizes him, and Hurley sees a report on the television screen behind her about him and the people that Saeed killed at the Santa Rosa, the mental facility, and the safe house. Hurley says that she's got him mixed up with someone else, but claims that he's the guy who won. But she claims he's the guy that won the lottery and crashed in that plane. Hurley tells her to keep the change and leaves quickly. Kate pulls into the gas station, just missing Hurley and Saeed, who left in the other direction. Aaron says he wants to go home. Not knowing what to do, Kate contemplates phoning Jack, but thinks better of it. Her phone begins to ring, however, and she answers it to an unknown caller we cannot hear. She expresses relief that the person is in Los Angeles, and they agree on a place to meet. When Aaron asks where they are going, Kate responds to see a friend. Back to our keeping with our flash forward, Ben is seen taking something out of a vent space and placing it in his bag without Jack noticing. He tells Jack that he flushed his pills down the toilet, to which Jack responds that he was going to do the same thing. Ben tells Jack to go home and pack anything that he wants in his life because he won't ever be coming back. Good, Jack replies. Ben says he's going to keep Locke's body safe. Jack asks Ben why he needs to keep Locke's body safe if he's dead. Ben doesn't answer the question, but tells Jack he will pick him up in 6 hours. Staying with our flashback, David is at his mansion watching an episode of Expose, that's Hurley's father, when Hurley arrives carrying Saeed on his back. David claims that Saeed is barely breathing. Hurley tells him what happened, but David believes he is lying to him. And then an LAPD detective and his partner arrive at the mansion, and David tells him that he hasn't seen Hurley. Hurley doesn't give much away when questioned by his father, but tells him they can't go to a hospital, and Hurley has an idea. Keeping with our flash forward, Kate takes Aaron to a penthouse of a large hotel where they meet Son. And then also Ben arrives at a butcher shop and begins talking to a woman named Jill. She knows who he is and that he has Locke's coffin in his van. Ben asks her if Gabrielle and Jeffrey had checked in yet, which Jill confirms. She comments that everything is moving right on schedule. Ben tells Jill to keep Locke's body safe, or everything they are about to do won't matter at all. Finally, back to the current time, I guess, in the island. Bernard is still attempting to get a fire going while other survivors wait impatiently, especially Neil, a.k.a. Frogurt. Charlotte says she has a headache still, and she forgot her mother's maiden name earlier, a fact that Daniel Faraday doesn't seem to find odd. Charlotte asks if he knows what's happening to her. Before he can answer, Miles strolls out of the jungle with a dead boar, saying he found it. Neil begins to insult the survivors, even calling Sawyer an inbred after he's called Frogurt again, complaining that, among other things, they can't even start a fire, and then is suddenly hit in the chest with a flaming arrow. How ironic. And then, of course, the camp is set upon by a rain of fury arrows from an unseen enemy, later revealed to be the others. The survivors begin to run into the jungle as both Miles and Sawyer narrowly escape. As they escape, several other survivors are shot down. Back to our flash forward. Hurley notes that the police are staking out the mansion, and David asks his son if he is in fact crazy. Hurley tells him that he has a good reason to lie. Before Hurley can answer his father why he is lying, Carmen, his mom, returns home and tells Hurley that Saeed is not breathing. Hurley frantically runs to save Saeed and notices that he's breathing, but barely, and tells his dad that they need to go. As Carmen asks Hurley what is going on, David leaves the house in his car, nervously waving at the police as he drives past. Keeping with our flash forward, Sun shows Kate pictures of his young and states that she would like Aaron and Ji-young to play together. Kate tells Sun about the lawyers who came to visit her, asking about testing her and her son. And then Sun tells Kate that they aren't interested in exposing their lie. They just want Aaron. Sun tells Kate that she needs to do what she can to take care of Aaron, and that she didn't rescue Jin from the freighter like she said she would. Kate apologizes for this, but Sun says she shouldn't blame her for what she did. She asks Kate how Jack is, and then David meets up with Jack, and David shows Jack that he has Saeed in the back of his Jeep, and Jack wants to know who is with Hurley at the mansion and takes Saeed to the St. Sebastian Hospital. David tells Jack to stay away from Hurley. And then at the hospital, Jack phones Ben and tells him that Saeed has shown up. Ben looks worried about this. Hurley tells his mother all about the island, the whole truth, and breaks down. She comforts him and she says she doesn't understand, but she believes him. And then back to our island timeline, Sawyer and Juliet trek through the jungle to meet up with those who survived the attack. They hide as they see three figures walk by in front of them, figures they don't recognize. As they debate their identity, they are grabbed by a group of three men. One of them, identified as Jones on his shirt, forcefully asks, "What are you doing on our island?" Back to our flash forward, Jack treats Saeed, who wakens and attacks Jack by choking him. When Saeed realizes who it is, he calms down and expresses anxiety about where Hurley is and who is with him. And then Ben scares Hurley by appearing at his house. Hurley even throws a hot pocket at him. Hurley doesn't trust Ben, but Ben attempts to persuade him to come with him, saying that he'll take Hurley to Saeed and Jack. He tells him that he can help him and get him back to the island where he won't have to lie anymore, where it will all be over with. Hurley thinks about it for a moment, remembers Saeed's instructions to never do what he is told by Benjamin Linus, then mutters, "Never, dude," and runs out the front door to surrender to police outside, confessing, "I killed 3 people, however many are dead. I killed them," telling them to get him away from the house. Hurley looks back to where Ben stands watching and smiles. Back to the island, demanding to know how many of them there are and how they got to the island. And then despite Sawyer's attempts to reason with these random people and provide him with information he wants, Jones orders one of the other men, labeled Mattingly, to cut Juliet's hand off, which she is held down by the third man, Cunningham. And suddenly, stones fly through the air, knocking Jones and Mattingly over, and Juliet grabs one of their guns just as Mattingly gets up with a knife and is about to attack Sawyer. Another knife flies through the air, killing him instantly. As they hold the other 2 men at gunpoint, Locke reveals himself, pulls his weapon out of the dead man's chest, and greets Sawyer and Juliet. Back to our flash forward, a hooded figure is seen in a strange room with computers and a chalkboard on which she is adding an equation to others already on the board. A large pendulum can be seen in the foreground, tracing with a chalk on a large map. The map features several sets of intersecting lines in the Pacific Ocean and at least one set in the Atlantic Ocean east of Florida. The figure appears to be working out the coordinates of the island using a computer very similar but not identical to the ones found in the Pearl and Swan stations on the island. There appears to be a Dharma logo of an unknown station on the monitor, as well as one on a number of Dharma binders in either side. The screen flashes event window determined, and the figure ponders the pendulum. The figure goes up some stairs into a room where they can see Benjamin Linus lighting some candles in the church. Ben is told he only has 70 hours to complete his work, to which he says he needs more time. The figure is revealed to be Eloise Hawking, and she states that if Ben can't get all of the Oceanic 6 members back in 70 hours, then God help us all. And that's what ends this episode of Lost. So, okay, episode. I'm going to give it an 8.2 out of 10. And my character of the episode, it's focused on a bunch of different people. It's hard to determine, but I'm going to give it to Hurley in this particular episode. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Lost and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Make sure you follow me on Instagram as well. I'll put my link to my Instagram in the description. And don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Lost. You'll be interacting with me as well as the legendary Crazy Coffeeman, so make sure you ask away anything you got, but just no spoilers past this episode. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. Subscribe to the channel you're watching the video anyway. Help me get over 100,000 subscribers. Join the team. Show your damn support and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.